Hello, I'm Mr. Plum. We are Plum and Plumber, and it's another weekend. Get in. Come on. 30 degrees, gin, barbecues, all that stuff going down. Well, definitely gin. We'll see about a barbecue. Anyway, so I thought I'd update you on a little job that I've been putting off for years and years and years. Mainly because it could go horribly wrong, or it could be an easy job. So, this is the old water feed to the water tank in the attic. Now, it's one thing I've been putting off because the nonce who had this house before me, a long time ago, well, he must have been a nonce. Well, it was a Matlow. Same thing. Yeah, so he just had a hard feed straight into the side of the tank. No flexibility in it at all, and no way to service it. And so I put it off for years and years. It was weeping, it was cracking, it was covered in crusty chalk. Because us southerners down here, we get a lot of chalk, covered in crusty chalk. So I thought, right, that whole lot is coming out. Now, as you can recall, when I did the garden tap a few weeks back, I said I've just shoved an isolating valve up in the attic for a future job. And that's what it was for. See, now, if you are somebody that has a water appliance and does not have an isolating valve on its supply, then you are a nonce of the highest order, a Class A nonce, because it means you have to turn the water off the rest of the house. So if you've got an isolating valve, you just turn it off and then you can work on that appliance. Nobody else is interrupted. So, little lesson. Always have an isolating valve on every appliance you have. Anyway, that over. So, because I put an isolating valve up there, I just turned it off and I thought, right, everything from that valve is going. Well, apart from the tank. So, I nipped over to Bravo, Quebec, got myself a new ballcock valve, got myself a new isolating valve, got myself a bag of olives. I thought I'd treat myself. And, yeah, and I got cracking. So, as you can see in this picture, crusty, rusty old stuff, and you'll also pick out that the nonce who did have it, he couldn't be bothered to put new pipework in because it didn't reach the tanks. What did he do? He extended it by an inch. Look, what's a Class A nonce? He extended it, so he had an old nut on there, so he just had a flaring thing on there, and he then extended it and then soldered it onto the existing pipe. What a Class A nonce. So I thought, right, all that's going. So I took out the pipes, took out his crusty old ball valve. It might actually be one of his balls, don't know. Yeah, covered in shit, covered in crust. All that was going. I cleaned up the side of the tank because it'd been weeping over the years, so it's all chalk down the side of there. The support bracket was basically hanging on, and so I cleaned it all up. And what you can see, end result, was this picture. I didn't bother filming it because it's about 40,000 degrees up there, and I was melting. I was melting in places I never knew I had. Anyway, I'm over it now. So, yeah. So, got it all done, all cushy, all bone dry. Now, what you can probably see, a couple of things. Now, you know, Mr. Plum is not one for bodges, but I could not find a replacement support bracket to go on that ballcock. So what did I do? I bodged it. I took it off, cleaned it all up as much as I could. I covered it with anti-rust stuff. I ground it all down. I then covered it with sealing tape and then waterproof tape, and then cut a little hole in there for the ballcock valve to come through, pull it all back on, and that's what you see there. So all done, all cushy, job's good and bone dry for the first time in about 20 years. And the other thing I did, you know, because you get these water tanks, you can hear until the thing fills up and the valve shuts. Oh, I wanted to go to the loo every time I flushed it. It's dripping, dripping, dripping. So, as you know, Mr. Plum is not one for bodges. So, what did I do in this case? I bodged it, yes. So, I took a length of tubing from a solar light and, you know your little fill-up valve, put that on it. That half goes in the water. That half is fixed to your filling valve. You don't hear all the dripping then. You don't hear it. It's like a... as opposed to... chuk, 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 chuk. Yes. So, a little bit of tubing on your fill-up valve inside your tank. Just fix it onto there, either which is tape, or you can do a more permanent solution. That sits in the water. The water then fills up, and you don't hear all that filling of the tank. Now, I don't know if that's within the regulations, i.e., you know, potable water and all that sort of thing. But it can't be, because it's coming from a feed. It feeds other tanks, so it's not exactly going to go back in, is it? So that was my solution. I don't care if that's right. That's what I did. Anyway, I am Mr. Plumb. We are Plumb and Plumber. And I do things the way I do because I don't know what I'm doing. And I shall see you on the next job. Jim. Ta-ra.